Hey, and welcome to today's episode. Thanks for coming back to my channel. This video has been a long time in the making. I've tried to record it a few times actually, but if you've come here to complain about Chinese built crap, the CFMOTO isn't your concern. It's my GoPro. It very rarely works as it should. It's the worst action cam I've ever had. Whereas the CFMOTO still is meeting or exceeding all my expectations, which has been great. Anyway, the reason for this video or this vlog is because a few weeks ago I got some new tyres put on it. I got the Mitas E-07 Plus tyres, and I just wanted to give you my initial impressions of them, which have been excellent. I hate when people dump rubbish like that. So I'm a relatively novice off-roader. I don't do a lot of this. Okay, so like I was saying, this GoPro is hopeless. It's just dropped out again. Hopefully it'll work long enough to get some material for you guys. But yeah, anyway, like I said, I wanted to do just like a little video of my first impression of these new tyres, and yeah, my first impressions, they're amazing. So they give you a lot of confidence to tackle this type of stuff. So really easy, relatively hard pack. Gravel roads. But that said, when I first got them, it had been raining here for a few days, and this was quite slick and slippery, and they handled that pretty well also. And yeah, like I said, to give a novice like me the relative confidence to tackle stuff like this on a 230 odd kilo bike, I think it's pretty impressive. And that said, they are also super impressive on the road as well. Now that I've had a chance to scrub them in a bit, and they're not quite as slick, they grip just like my road tyres did, or like the stock tyres, so they've been amazing. So right now I'm riding in the local pines near my house. We have a paper mill. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to ride in here, to be honest, but it's not far from home, and it's into the evening, and I don't want to go too far because around about this time of the day is when Australian wildlife starts to jump out onto the roads and can be a little bit dangerous. But once I get off the gravel, I'll take it for a little spin on the road too, and hopefully the battery will work. Otherwise, I've got some B-roll from a video I filmed the other day. Oh, where do I go here? Let's keep going down. Maybe we'll see some kangaroos, some wallabies. Yeah, I took some video the other day. None of the audio came out, which is frustrating. So yeah, definitely think I'll be steering clear of GoPros from now on, and sticking with the Insta360s, and maybe even looking at getting an Osmi. because I've had nothing but problems with this camera. Let's go up here, see where it goes. One of my worries was that I'd read on forums and whatnot that a lot of people on these bikes with the tubeless tyres had issues with them retaining their... Oh, there's a kangaroo. There you go. He's a pretty big one too. That's cool. Yeah, and I was worried that I might lose that, but no, the tyres are still holding their pressure, which is great. And the other thing, I haven't let them down to go off-road, which I probably should have, but who can be bothered? Let's transition onto the road here, I think. And hopefully the GoPro will last, and I'll show you how these go on the road as well. But we do really need to be mindful of Skippy and his mates. Actually, another thing that I should point out is when I got my tyres changed, I got a new chain put on because I just had to adjust the old chain so much, and it had developed so many stiff links, despite the fact that I've been more than attentive in keeping up the maintenance for it. And ever since I got the new chain, the quick shifter hasn't skipped a beat. So I don't know if the two are related, but everything just feels tighter and just like it's working better, which I don't know if the chain can have much of a difference on that, but it certainly feels like it has. Yeah, so that was nice and seamless. The tyres aren't too noisy. It was something I would be prepared to deal with if it gave me a bit more capability to tackle some, you know, soft road. But they're not that noisy. If anything, it just there's a little hum, maybe like I'm riding some sort of hover bike from the Jetsons or something like that. But they're not noisy at all, and I ride with the earplugs in 99% of the time, just because the wind noise gets to me after a while. I feel less fatigued, and I can ride a lot longer if I'm wearing earplugs. But in terms of how they feel on the road, these tyres feel fantastic. I really like them. I did a lot of research in terms of reading articles and watching YouTube videos, and it's probably always a waste of my time. The one thing that always occurs to me late in the process of making big decisions like buying a bike or what tyres am I going to get and whatnot, is that I'm a rider of limited ability, and there probably isn't a tyre or there isn't a bike out there that doesn't completely exceed my ability. So I chose the Mitas E-07 Plus, but I could have very well gone with just about any sort of 50-50 or 60-40 tyre on the market, because it doesn't matter which one really. I believe that they will all exceed my abilities, and I'd only ever push them to, you know, so far to their limits. Like this bike is capable of so much more than I'm ever going to get out of it, and I like that. But yeah, I expected to feel a much bigger difference between a completely road-based tyre and a 60-40 or a 50-50 or whatever the Mitas E-07 Pluses are. But to be honest, when you're on the road, you don't notice too much of a difference. The only place where I have noticed some difference is low speed manoeuvres. Is because the tyres are quite blocky, you can feel them squirm a little bit underneath your roundabouts and stuff like that, but it's something that you adjust to pretty quickly and get on with. But yeah, if you're worried about them really affecting on-road performance, then take it from me, as someone who has only ever ridden on road, apart from, you know, some very mild adjustments at the beginning. There's next to no difference. It's pretty amazing really. So I suppose another factor that a lot of people consider is the aesthetics of these tyres and how they look on their bike. I guess that doesn't concern me too much. I'm more of a function over form kind of guy. I guess that's why I've always stuck with a traditional lid as opposed to going for an adventure helmet. I find the buffeting you get from a lid with a visor on it when you're doing mostly road riding pretty frustrating. But in terms of how the tyres look on this bike, I think they look great. I've always said that in this colour, the 800MT looks like a bike that could have been plucked straight from the Halo games, which is my era of gaming when I was young. And that's only helped by the addition of, you know, these chunky tyres. So in a little town called Yallourn North at the moment. This whole town was picked up and moved many years ago because they found a brown coal deposit underneath the initial town. So it's got a pretty incredible history. So I'm actually going to ride through the middle of the brown coal mine, the brown coal power station I should say. Just see it off in the distance. Again, it's not a great time of day to be riding around this area because there is a lot of wildlife, but we'll risk it for the biscuit. It's such a beautiful afternoon. cooling stacks now, a little bit like Springfield in The Simpsons. These are brown coal power stations, so they're pretty dirty and pretty inefficient, but they're quite old, but they've been a primary source of power for Victoria for a long time. I think they've got a pretty limited lifespan these days. It'd be interesting to see what they do next. They're in pretty incredible structure. I take for granted that I get to just ride past them like this. And I always forget that you do get a spray of water off the cooling towers. So hopefully you can still see. I'm going to go up a road called Haunted Hills Road. I think my battery's going to run out, but hopefully it lasts long enough for you guys to see this road, because it's pretty tight and technical.